Way back in 1921, the Royal British Legion adopted the poppy as their symbol of remembrance. Yeah, but the story behind it goes far deeper. Before the First World War, there were hardly any poppies growing in Flanders and northern France. It was not until late 1914. The First World War created prime conditions for poppies to flourish. Continual bombardment disturbed the soil and brought dormant seeds to the surface. They were fertilised by nitrogen in the explosives and lime from the shattered rubble of buildings and, of course, the remains of men and animals that were buried on the battlefield. It was a French woman named Anna Guerin who became inspired by the war poem by the Canadian officer John McCrae in Flanders Fields, and of course it mentions "and the poppies grow row upon row." Anna was an experienced fundraiser and came up with the idea of making poppies as a way of raising funds for war orphans and for people who had suffered greatly because of the devastation caused by the First World War. She in fact became known as the Poppy Lady from France. After Anna's initial success with her poppy campaign in the United States and Canada in September 1921, she came over to England for a meeting with the newly formed Royal British Legion, who immediately ordered 1 million of her poppies for the upcoming Armistice Day on the 11th of November 1921. The original poppies were really quite simple. They were a piece of red fabric with a green stalk, and they also had a little banner attached to them telling you what the actual poppy was for. In October 1921, Earl Haig announced that they were changing the name of Armistice Day to Remembrance Day, and the British Legion ordered an extra 8 million poppies to be sold. The campaign was an immediate success, and 9 million poppies were sold by November the 11th. The following year, the poppies were being manufactured by a handful of disabled men, but within 10 years, 350 disabled veterans of the First World War were manufacturing the poppies in London in what became known as the Poppy Factory. Veterans wounded in more recent conflicts continue to make poppies to this very day. I myself have actually made many poppies when I was convalescing in a combat stress hospital. You know, recently, just the other day, I was asked by a student, how do we support veterans on Remembrance Day? And I had to have a think about that. And then I remembered something that had happened to me on the Somme battlefield. Many years ago, I was there in uniform, in World War I uniform, helping the British Legion educate people as to what went on at the Battle of the Somme. So I did what I had to do, retired to the town of Arras, and I'm sat in the square there where many a British soldier had stood and sat having some lunch when a coach load of old men pulled up in front of me. These were the last surviving members of the Battle of the Somme, and they'd seen me in the gear. They wanted to meet me. Well, I was reluctant at first, but they persuaded me, and on the coach I went, and in no time at all, the banter. I'd introduced myself. They figured out straight away that I'm a veteran in my own right when I was in the army. That's the story, and oh, did we talk. And we laughed, but these guys are 98, 99, 100 years of age. And one of them at the end stood up, and you could see he had part of his ear had been shot away, and it still gave him grief, you know. Anyway, he came up to me and he says, "Thank you so much," shook my hand, and he says, "Thank you. We'd hate all of us to die soon, and nobody remember us." And that's what I said to the student on Remembrance Day. Remember us. Now, don't forget, poppy sales raise vital funds for those still serving and ex-serving members of the armed forces community, and of course their families. So the next time you buy yourself a poppy, wear it with pride. And on Remembrance Day, remember us.